So No Man's Sky is getting new boss encounters via the brand new update called Relics. And this is all about bones, I'm not even kidding. Bone constructs, bone creatures, bone trading, and a bunch of other stuff. So we're gonna check that in this video. It definitely looks very interesting. Plus we have a new expedition, so let's dive right in. We of course already have the trailer if you want to go ahead and check it out, which, let's be honest, you probably did because it looks really interesting. I'm definitely loving some of the new designs over here, but specifically one of the main new additions over here are going to be these really interesting reanimated guardians, as they are being called. Hulking stone lifeforms slumber by planetary fossil beds, defending these ancient burial grounds from travelers who would seek to disturb them. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm sensing some great Zelda vibes from these constructs right here, at least in terms of how they look. We've seen 3 of them, including this one that uses a laser. And by the way, check out these disintegration mechanics as it's getting attacked, slowly revealing the inside, which I think is really awesome. Probably at some point this life form may have been organic because we're seeing some form of ribcage over there, but again, the level of detail over here is really top notch. We've seen a couple more besides these, one that was floating and doing spin attacks and melee, and then a third one which is this sort of juggernaut, almost like Rhino from Marvel Spider-Man look-alike. These living stone sentries, as they are called, will further hurl masses of rock and crystals at anyone who seeks to exhume their beds of ancient bones. Crafty and challenging opponents, these guardians will sometimes even resort to self-destruction to defend their territory, so something you should definitely be careful about. However, check out this insane colossal stone effigy right here. Static otherwise, but it does seem to be rather alive. The crumbling ruins of relic worlds are watched over by monumental stone figures, vestiges of long-dead alien civilizations. These mysterious effigies appear dormant, their purpose lost to time. So yeah, maybe we're not gonna get the big boss fights just yet, but others are still quite significant. Now, why are they protecting whatever they are protecting? Well, it's basically bones. The answer for this whole update is bones. We can now collect more bones and design creatures with them, kind of like in Jurassic Park, basically. So design creature skeletons, yeah, and assemble complete skeletons from your collection of ancient bones. Imagine how ancient alien creatures might have looked, and reassemble their bodies from their fossilized remains with millions of possibilities for unique species. And we actually saw at least one of them, which is this really interesting mix between some kind of xenomorph over here, but there's basically a whole market for these bones. We can actually trade in and exchange them for other bones at special NPCs that take them. So we can exhume a vast array of ancient bones from rib cages with spikes, limbs dangling and grasping, skulls from warhounds, and a whole bunch of other stuff that we can then combine over at our base to make some really interesting additions. Obviously, we can keep them at our base, but there's going to be an option to also pre-make them and then sell them. Now, to find these skeletons in the first place, we're going to need to visit new planetary dig sites that have spawned and been established all across galaxies. They are called paleontological dig sites, by the way, and they look something like this. We can see a whole bunch of other archaeologists around them, and also the main bones slash creatures being contained over there in the middle. What we can do with these is we can package them into fused exhibits. We've seen how that works right here in one of these shots, but basically we can mix and match them to create whatever, I guess, ancient creature we want, and then decorate our base with or sell for an exorbitant amount of money. So package assembled fossils into fused exhibits, conveniently stored in the inventory, reorganize your museum layout with ease, or gift your displays to other travelers. But we're gonna also get to sell them at a special merchant. We've seen that one of them here goes for over 600,000 units, and also liking the fact that one of them is almost called Mr. Biggest. But besides the assembly, we can also trade these fossils. So we can go at a fossil collector, which we're now going to find at the space station, and we can sell our created exhibits over there, or we can trade in some of our bones for any of the broad selection of fossils that they have. And there is also a haggling minigame over here that seems to get added, which is likely going to help if you want to get some better prices and whatnot. So it looks really interesting. But moving on, there's another feature that we have to talk about. They have actually improved the abandoned mode. So playing in an abandoned universe has been streamlined and enhanced. Derelict space stations will now contain functional upgrading stations for both the exosuit, starship, and the multi-tool, as well as salvage boxes containing valuable upgrades. Travelers can scavenge further technologies from planetary buried caches, and purple systems are automatically visible on the galaxy map. So a really big one for all of you out there who probably didn't get to unlock purple systems just yet, though it doesn't make it clear if you do need to finish that quest line to open them up in the first place. Like I said, the theme for this is going to be bones, so bone creatures are also on the menu. So on planets where ancient bones can be found or within purple systems, we will also find what's called skeletal fauna that has risen from their fossil beds to roam their planetary homes once again. We can see some of them in this shot, but there's actually more. There's even titanic bone worms, which is exactly what you would expect. Big sandworms, which are basically skeletons. So really, really interesting. Now, like in every single content update, we also get a new expedition. It's called the Relics expedition, and here are some of the rewards we're gonna get. One of them is going to be the Living Stone hard pack, which is basically a jetpack made out of stone, if that even makes any sense, sculpted from the remains of a sentient rock, which I think goes in tune with the theme very, very well. Another one is this really interesting living stone customization. So we are going to get all of these parts to basically transform ourselves very similarly to one of the constructs we've seen. A powerful magnetic field runs through this ancient stone, turning lumpen rock into something almost alive. I'm not gonna lie, I think that this is definitely the highlight over here. Besides this, there are at least a couple of these staffs that we can get. One of them is obviously going to be in that living stone theme, but another one is given from the expedition. So that's the Basilisk Crown Staff. After we complete one of the expedition staffs, it's a fused pillar of bones and circuitry. Beware of its gaze. And yeah, it kind of has that really interesting sort of goat, I guess, or ram over as a main head, but it also seems to be animated as when it shoots, it opens its mouth. So I think that looks really unique. One of the final notes that I want to cover is that we get some interplanetary navigation changes. We can pin celestial bodies to our starship navigation system from the Discoveries screen to help locate undiscovered planets within the solar system, or narrow down our search for rare planetary features such as ancient bones or dissonant worlds. And we can see over here that it basically works as it's usually been the case, but now there's going to be a pin for that planet, and maybe there's going to be a HUD menu that shows it a little bit better when we are out of this menu screen. Of course, there are many other patch changes over here that you can go ahead and check out, but in the meantime, this is pretty much most of the stuff that we're gonna get. I think that the only thing remaining is maybe some of the new cuisine. Prepare new bone-based recipes in the nutrient processor to ingest for health and protective benefits, or to present to Iteration Cronus for critique, judgment, and potential remuneration. We've seen bone broth and the softened marrow, which, you know what, they make a lot more sense than I initially anticipated. So I'm gonna give Hello Games a pass on this. But this is pretty much it with the update. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.